Welcome back to Sanjay Godavat, IIT and Medical Academy. I am Ramesh, Zoology faculty. The next topic in the body fluid and circulation, lymph or tissue fluid. First of all, if you take some introduction about the lymph, then followed by the formation of lymph and functions of lymph, right? The formation of lymph and functions of lymph, very important, right? And first, if you take some introduction about the lymph, okay. First point, the lymphatic system is open circulatory system. Okay, open circulatory system is nothing but, okay, already we have discussed about the open and closed type of circulatory system differences in the previous videos, right? Open is nothing but if the blood touch to body cells tissues, that is open. Whereas the closed, nothing but blood always confined to the vessel, okay, no bathing character, right, not touching to the body cells tissues. That is a closed, means in the closed blood always confined to the vessels, okay, whereas in the open, okay, the blood touch to the body cells tissues. That is a differences. If the fluid touch to body, that is a open. Okay, if the fluid is not touching, okay, always confined to vessel only, that is called closed. Whereas if you take the lymphatic system, is a open circulatory system. It's nothing but the lymph always, okay, connecting to the body cells tissues, nothing but touching, okay. So that is the meaning of the open circulatory system. Now, the lymphatic system, okay, different things in that, okay, lymph capillaries, first of all. Lymph capillaries are microscopic, closed ended tubules, form vast network in the intercellular spaces, right? Right? If you take the tissues, this is tissues, right? In the tissues, what happened? There are different capillaries present, right? This is like capillaries, and these are the capillaries. The red color capillaries, if you take the artery capillaries, the blue color capillaries are the venous capillaries, right? The artery capillaries carry the oxygenated blood towards tissues. The venous capillaries, okay, transport the deoxygenated blood towards heart, right? In between the artery and the venous capillaries, the another capillaries are present. Okay, this is lymph capillaries, right? In between the tissues, artery and the venous capillaries, along with the artery and venous capillaries, like lymph capillaries also present. So these are the lymph capillaries, right? Lymph capillaries are microscopic, very small, right? And ended tubules, blind, okay, one side is complete closed, right? And blind or closed tubules form the vast network, okay, the zigzag network in the intercellular spaces, right, in between the cells tissues, okay, innervated by, okay, capillaries. That is a lymph capillaries. If you take the lymph definition, blood minus RBC plus large proteins is equal to lymph, right? This is the formula of the lymph. Okay, blood minus RBC plus large proteins is equal to lymph, right? If you take the blood minus plasma is equal formed elements, right? Next, blood minus, okay, formed elements is equal to plasma, okay, whereas blood minus RBC plus large proteins is equal to lymph. This is the lymph, okay. The plasma minus clotting factors is equal to serum, right? This is object-wise importance, right? In that, lymph and the serum, very, very important. So what is serum? Plasma minus clotting factor is equal to serum, right? Whereas blood minus RBC plus large proteins is equal to lymph, right? This is the lymph. So in the lymph, almost large proteins, whereas the RBC are absent. The remaining, okay, like formed elements like some WBC, lymphocytes, okay, along with remaining substances of blood present, okay, in the lymph, but except RBC and the large size of the proteins are absent. Now, if you take the sequence flow about the lymph transport from the tissues towards enter, first of all enter into the capillaries, lymph capillaries. Okay, the lymph capillaries towards vessel, then ducts, the final is opened into the venous system. Okay, subclavian vein, right? So, that is our transport, okay, flow about the lymph from the body tissues toward venous system, right? Body tissues, okay, lymph towards, move towards the venous system by the capillaries, vessel, ducts and the subclavian vein, okay, the subclavian vein towards venous system. Now, the wall of the lymph vessels and the ducts, okay, lymph vessels and the duct, if you take, similar to those vein and provided with valves, okay, here very important, valves, nothing but like throughout the lymphatic system in the vessels and the ducts, okay, valves are present. What is the valve function? Valve generally open only one side, right? This is valve, okay, open like this and closed. Okay, it's a door like movement, open only one side. When the lymph is transports in the vessel and the ducts, what happened? The valve open, after transport, okay, valve get closed, means preventing back movements. Okay, so just like a venous system, okay, in the lymphatic system also valves are present. Okay, so the venous system, okay, also contain the valves preventing backflow of the blood. Whereas in the lymphatic system, okay, vessels and ducts are provided with the valves, okay, and preventing backflow of the lymph. That is a valve in the lymphatic system. Next, we go to the smooth muscles of the lymph system. Smooth muscles of their walls like vessels and the ducts, okay, wall preventing backflow, along with wall smooth muscles. If we take the smooth muscles of these vessels and ducts, conduct peristalsis wave like contractions. The peristalsis, the success wave like movements create as a result of the muscles activity in the, okay, lymphatic vessels and the lymph duct. What happened? The peristalsis, the success wave like movements are created, and these wave like movements, okay, in the lymph vessels and the ducts help forward the lymph towards anterior portion, towards the neck sides. From the lower body, lympho move towards anterior regions by the successive wave-like movements. Okay, so this is very important. Now, thoracic ducts. Thoracic duct is the largest lymphatic duct, right? Is the largest lymphatic system. Okay, thoracic duct is the largest, okay, lymphatic vessel, largest lymphatic vessel, okay, also called left lymphatic duct because toward just left side of the body, right, hence called left lymphatic duct or chyliferous ducts. Chyliferous because it transport chylomicrons, the fat, okay, generally fats in the absorption, what happened, the digested fat, okay, through intestinal cells, okay, diffuses into the lacteals, okay, in the lacteals what happened, okay, right, the digested fats, okay, through intestinal cells, okay, absorbed into lacteals. Okay, before absorbed into the lacteals in the intestinal cells, what happened? Okay, the fat, digested fats enclosed by the protein coates, okay, that is called chylomicrons. These chylomicrons are transported by the lymphatic system. Okay, hence thoracic duct and also called, okay, chyliferous duct. That is a reason, okay, thoracic duct also called chyliferous ducts. Next, lymph collected from upper body parts also enter into the thoracic ducts, right? Not only the lower body parts. Thoracic duct is the largest lymphatic duct, right? It's also called left because towards left side of the body collects lymph from lower body parts as well as upper body parts, right? That is a thoracic ducts, and finally pump into the venous system. Okay, so that is a lympho. Okay, upper body parts of lymph also enter into the thoracic duct, then to the venous system. Next to, before lymph return to the heart via the venous system, right? Some microbes, bacteria, virus and other foreign bodies are phagocytosed by WBC in the lymph nodes, means in the throughout the lymphatic system. In the throughout the lymphatic system, what happened? Lymph nodes are present. There are 500 to 600 small bean shape of the structures present called the lymph nodes. The lymph nodes present throughout the lymphatic system, right? Small the bean shape of structures, and these called lymph nodes, right? In human body 500 to 600 lymph node. Now what is function of the lymph nodes? In the lymph nodes, what happen? The lymph undergoes to filtration. Okay, they clear out foreign particles. If any foreign particles are present in the lymph, like bacteria, virus and other foreign bodies, undergoes to phagocytosed, nothing but engulf the pathogens directly by WBC cells in the lymph nodes. And this is the introduction about the lymph. In that, this is very important object wise. Open circulatory system, very important. Okay, lymph capillaries, microscopic structure, endotubules, develop vast network in the intercellular spaces, ready to absorb lymph tissue fluids. Once tissue fluid enter, lymph capillaries, now it is called the lymph, right? Then transport lymph. Okay, this is the flow chart about the lymph transport, the muscles function, the valvular structure, that is a another important, and the thoracic ducts and the phagocytosis nature, right? This is the introduction about the lymph or tissue fluid. Next we go to the formation of lymph. Okay, the formation of lymph is very important in this topic, right? Now how lymph is formed, and what are the next functions, right? And first of all, the formation of lymph, then followed by the functions. And this is the diagram about the formation of the lymph. Okay, so generally this is heart circulation, right? Heart, the fourth chamber of heart in human, the upper to small chamber auricles, the lower to large chambers ventricles. Okay, the right ventricle, this is right ventricle pump deoxygenated blood towards pulmonary capillaries, right, towards lungs for like exchange of the gases by the pulmonary trunk and the pulmonary arteries. Here in the lungs, what happen? Exchange. Next to the left ventricle, at a time the left ventricle pump oxygenated blood towards systemic capillaries, body tissues, right? And this is, if you focused on the left ventricle circulation, right, the left ventricle blood, that is oxygenated blood pumped towards body capillaries, systemic capillaries. Once oxygenated blood transport to the systemic capillaries, due to high filtration pressure in arteriolar ends of capillaries, what happened? Like plasma, except formed elements, like plasma along with some essential substances. If you take like nutrients, nothing but glucose, some other essential substances, gas, oxygen, right, and other some essential substances filter into the tissues, right. So this is, for example, tissues, right, this is tissue, and here what happens, some fluid expelled out, okay, like along with oxygen, nutrients and other essential substances, what happen, okay, enter into intercellular space, that is called tissue fluids. This is, okay, tissue fluid. If you take the color, this is the red color, tissue fluids. Okay. So what happened? After, okay, transportation of oxygenated blood to the capillaries, in the capillaries what happened? The pressure increases because capillary structure very narrow, right? Due to high filtration pressure in the arteriolar ends, what happened? Okay, like a plasma, like except to large proteins and the formed elements, okay, and the rest of the plasma, okay, along with the essential substances filter, okay, into tissues between the intercellular space. Okay, that is called tissue fluids. Okay, once fluid enter, okay, in between the cells, that is called tissue fluids. What happened in the tissues? The tissue fluids utilize the cells. Okay, tissues utilize oxygen, nutrients and other essential substances. Okay, and then what happened? The rest of the, okay, like tissue fluids, okay, after exchange gas nutrients, the carbon dioxide, that is a venous blood, okay, the deoxygenated, okay, like a fluids, what happened? Filter back into, okay, venous system. Almost, okay, 85% of the tissue fluid back into the venous system. Okay, venous capillaries ready to capture the maximum tissue fluid. Okay, here the factors play important role, that is a colloidal osmotic pressure. This is COP. Colloidal osmotic pressure is nothing but protein pressure. And due to, okay, colloidal osmotic pressure, what happened? The maximum tissue fluid, 85%. 85% of the tissue fluid, okay, back into the, okay, venous system, then transport towards hearts. Okay, and out of 100, 85% maximum tissue fluid transport by the venous system, right, due to this pressure, that is a colloidal osmotic pressure. The remaining 15%, of the tissue fluids called ECF, okay, extracellular fluids, right, this is extra, right, extracellular fluid, and this fluid, what happened, okay, absorbed into another capillaries in between the artery and the venous capillaries, the another capillaries are present, that is the lymph capillaries. Okay, so there is a remaining 15% of these tissue fluids absorbed into the lymph capillaries. Lymph capillaries are closed tubule, absorbed, right, ready to absorb tissue fluids. That is a 15% of the tissue fluid capture. Once the tissue fluid, right, 15% of these tissue fluid once enters into the lymphatic system, like lymph capillaries, ducts, vessels, what happened? Now it is called lymph, right? This is a 15% of the tissue fluid become lymph, right? This is the formation of the lymph, right? So, after transportation of oxygenated blood towards systemic capillaries, okay, the plasma except large proteins, okay, filter into the tissues, okay, that is a tissue fluids, right, the cells tissues utilized, right, for the cellular activities. Then what happened next to, okay, like a venous, okay, like capillaries capture maximum tissue fluids, 85% of the tissue fluid, like along with the carbon dioxide, wastages, the tissue fluid, what happened? Back into the venous capillaries towards heart by main factor, that is a colloidal osmotic pressure. okay, due to the presence of the proteins in the venous system of the blood, okay, they are captured maximum tissue fluid, okay, from the tissues, that is 85% tissue fluid back. The remaining 15% of the tissue fluid, that is the ACF, absorbed into the lymph capillaries. Once the tissue fluid absorbed into the lymph capillaries, now it is called lymph. That is a lymph. In the lymph, what happened? Okay, there is no RBC. Okay, there is no like a large size proteins, mainly is absent. Okay, so that is a lymph. It carries some lymph nodes, wastages, okay, other nutrients, okay, etc. present, but except RBC and the large proteins, that is a lymph. Now, the movement of the lymph, right? If you take the movement of the lymph, already we have discussed, right? The lymph, this is tissues, in the tissues, artery and the venous capillaries, right? This is lymph capillaries, captured, lymph capillaries captured, this is the lymph capillaries. Lymph capillaries captured like 15% of the tissue fluids, that is the ACF. Once ACF enter lymphatic system, now it is called lymph. Then transport towards upper sides from the lower body parts of lymph as well as upper body parts of lymph, okay, transport towards like a thoracic ducts. That is a major duct in the lymphatic system, right? And this is lymph capillaries, right, captured lymph. Then transport towards increasing diameter tubules like vessel, ducts, the finally subclavian veins towards, okay, venous system. And this is transport. Okay, in the transport, during the transport, what happened? The lymph nodes present in the throughout the lymphatic system capture, okay, foreign particles. If any foreign particles present in the lymph, okay, captured and destroyed by the phagocytosis. Okay, whereas walls also present, already we have discussed, preventing back movements of the lymph in the lymphatic system. Whereas the smooth muscles, what is function? Okay, they creating the wave-like movements. The peristalsis movement result, the lymph move towards, okay, upper side from the lower body parts. Okay, whereas upper body parts lymph also move towards, okay, like a thoracic ducts towards the venous system. Means the part of the blood, right? So, the part of blood convert into tissue fluids, and this tissue fluid, okay, once enter into the lymphatic system, now it is called lymph, again join into the venous system. Okay, so right, you can take the diagram, right? This is the blood transport, then filtered, plasma filter, right? This is tissue fluid. The tissue fluid is generally a part of the blood, filter into the tissues. In the tissues, what happen? Utilize, right? After utilization, the maximum tissue fluid back into the heart by the venous system, 85%. Okay, the remaining 15% of the tissue fluid transport by the venous system, okay, sorry, transport by the lymphatic system and join into the venous system towards heart, right? This is lymphatic system diagram from upper and the lower, right? In the lymphatic system, throughout the lymphatic system, lymph nodes, right? This is solid, okay, lymph node structure present, preventing, okay, foreign particles activities, okay, and that is the main activities. Valves also present, okay, preventing back movements, right? This is the formation. So, in that, object wise important 85% and the 15%. Okay, so if you take the definition, when the blood pass through the capillaries due to high filtration pressure, right? So what happened? At arterial or ends of capillaries along with plasma, many nutrients except large plasma proteins and other substances filter into extracellular spaces, that is called tissue fluid. Large plasma protein, okay, cause and increases pressure, colloidal osmotic pressure. Okay, results what happen? okay, like it favored the movement about 85% of the tissue fluid, okay, into the capillaries, venous, right, after exchanging oxygen, carbon dioxide, nutrients, etc., right, that is. Remaining, okay, 15% of the ECF collected by lymphatic system through capillaries. This is the formation lymph. Next we go to the functions of the lymph. Okay, so lymph is a colorless fluids because of no RBC, right? And the lymph, okay, developed in the all body tissues, transport by the lymphatic system towards, okay, venous system again, right? From the tissues, lymph, okay, captured by lymphatic system, lymph capillaries, then transport towards venous system. Okay. Now, okay, what is the functions? Lymph functions, if you take different functions, it conduct, right? One of the function of the lymph, if you take like absorption of the digested fats and the transports, right? If you take the diagram, okay, this is a diagram about the absorption, okay, of fats and the transports, right? So in the intestine, what happened? The fats undergoes to digestion. That is a micelles, digested fats first, okay, enter into the intestinal epithelial cells. In the intestinal epithelial cells, okay, the fats, okay, like micelles are enclosed by the protein layer in the intestinal cells. Okay, that is a protein coat of the, okay, the fats in the intestinal cells called the chylomicrons, right? And these chylomicrons develop generally in the intestinal cells, okay, and absorbed into lymphatic system, okay. So not to the, okay, blood vascular system, because blood capillaries are very small compared to the, okay, lacteals. The lacteals is nothing but, okay, the lymph capillaries which are present in the intestinal epithelial cells called the lacteals. They are ready to capture, okay, chylomicrons, then transport towards the venous system. From the venous system, heart, from heart to, okay, body adipose tissues. That is a absorption, fats and the transports, right. This is the first function. Next to lymph transport, lymphocytes. Okay, so in the lymphs generally what happened, the lymphocytes present, okay, transport from one place to the another, right. So lymphocytes mainly two types. Lymphocytes, B and the T. B cell and the T cell. So B and the T, if you take the differences, right, B mean nothing but bone marrow cells, okay, the lymphocytes which are, okay, origin and mature in the bone marrow, that is called B, bone marrow cell. T nothing but thymus, okay, some lymphocytes mature in the thymus gland, that is a thymus cells, T cells, that is the differences. Okay, so this is B cell and the T cell. B cell or B lymphocytes divide into plasma and memory. Okay, plasma cells are short-lived cells, produce army of antibody to against of specific antigens. Okay, then what happened? Antibody bind antigens. This is antigen, this is antibody. Okay, this is antigen antibody complex. Okay, so that is antibody produced by plasma. Memory cells, okay, long-lived cells, store, okay, storage, antigen information, antigen information, and ready to next immune responses. That is a short-lived and the long-lived cells of the B cell, right. The B cell divide, okay, proliferate into plasma and memory. Where the B cell undergoes to proliferation? In the lymph nodes. Lymph nodes are the examples of the secondary lymphoid organs. The secondary lymphoid organs, okay, like what happened, the lymphocytes undergoes to proliferation, okay, nothing but division. T cells, right, T lymphocytes mainly two types, Th and the TC. H means help, right? Help to like plasma cells for production of antibody. Okay, when antibody produce, it leads to HI, humoral immunity takes place. In the body fluids, the death of pathogen by the antibody called humoral immunity. Whereas, okay, TC, the TC again divide ETC, MTC. Effector T lymphocytes, memory T lymphocytes. Memory T lymphocytes storage antigen information. Effector TC, okay, find infected host cells and conduct CMI, cell mediated of immunity, right? So, this is type of immunity. Immune cells, that is the lymphocytes, transport by lymph, okay. So, that is another function. These are different type of the immune cells transport by the lymph. Next, the lymph maintain the volume of blood volume, right? That is another function. Without lymph, there is no volume of the blood. Without volume of blood, there is no pressure, right? Lipid containing lymph called chyle. This is, okay, the partially digested food in the stomach called chyme, CHYME. This is partially digested acidic food in the stomach, that is chyme. Now, what is chyle? Okay, so the lipid containing lymph is called chyle. Simple is nothing but milky fats. Okay, the digested fat. So, generally absorbed into the lymph and transports. That is chyle, because transport in the form of chylomicrons. That's why it is called chyle. Milky fats in the lymph called the chyle. Next, lymph carry out immune responses, different immune responses, okay, because it carry the lymphocytes, phagocytes, okay, engulfing cells. Some engulfing cells also present, okay, they are ready to engulf pathogens and to destroy pathogen activity, finally protect our bodies, right. And this is the functions of the lymph. So, finally, okay, the lymph, okay, or tissue fluid is completed. This is the introduction and the capillary, okay, different capillary structure and the formation of lymph, right, in the body tissue formation, then transport by the lymphatic system towards venous system to hearts, right. And in that, like pressure important, colloidal osmotic pressures, 85% fluid absorbed into the like venous system. The rest of the tissue fluid, okay, absorbed by the, okay, lymphatic system, that is a 15%, okay. And this is formation of lymph with the structure. And now the functions, okay, this is immune system main functions, transport by the fats, okay, and like maintain the volume of bloods, etc. So, finally, the lymphatic system, okay, lymph or the tissue fluid is closed. Thank you.